Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another day of the video diary. How's it going today? Well, it's day 2. We're bringing back the intro, boys, since if yesterday's video is anything to go by, we're going to be making long daily vlogs instead of lots of short days that are all glued together. I've come for my walk half an hour earlier than I expected because it's going to absolutely fucking tip it down all day. I'm probably not going to get my afternoon walk. But that combined with the fact that today is a shave day, and shave days are a little bit... Yesterday I didn't have to have a shave in the morning, because I shave every other day. So I could basically do everything half an hour earlier than I normally did. So I was able to build myself half an hour's worth of time or more to do work in the morning before... No, and basically I had an hour to do some work in the morning before I came out for my walk at 8 o'clock. Today though I'm throttled by Laura using the bathroom, so I can't do everything half an hour earlier, so I only have half an hour, and I'm like, you may as well utilise the fact that it's still a bit dry. I'm hoping not to let rain stop my commutes, because just because it rains you don't not drive to work. But yeah, also as a drive to stop myself going insane. Got to get out of the house sometimes. I'm planning on finishing the user story I was working on with my step templates today. It would have been effectively a day's amount of work, like a full working day to get it all done. Well, assuming I finish it today. But obviously yesterday I spent half the day doing things that weren't development and all that kind of stuff. I'm trying to figure out how my time works. I'm trying to figure out where the fuck I'm gonna come out. To be honest with you, I don't know where I am at the moment. I don't know this place like the back of my hand soon. Yeah, I don't really know. Everything's kind of changed now. I want to try and ramp up and do things quicker, but do things more and not get fixated on one thing or another. So my time estimates are just shot. Things that used to take me like a week, now do they take me a day? I don't know. So yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, so I'm hoping to get that finished today. Finish off some marketing stuff. I need to get back to some people. I need to do a little bit of networking when I get back to the house. I need to reply to some messages and all that kind of shit, emails, all that malarkey. And then I need to start trying to find more clients that I could potentially reach out to. I think that's my focus for today. Yeah, so the plan is to... That's a big TV. The plan is to message all the people I need to message, get all that sorted, hopefully get drafts of... Finish the draft I started making yesterday and draft another email to another company today, so that I've got some ready to rock and roll next week, and then finish the development process. That's my plan. I'm just walking around. Just getting some fresh air before we go into my office and sit and just watch the rain belt against the window. So it's going to be a miserable fucking day today, boys. One thing I'm struggling with is... My slippers upstairs or downstairs. One thing I'm struggling with is I don't have any data on successful marketing, effectively. Like, it's all very ad hoc, there we go. I'm just trialing and erroring way through a lot of stuff, and I kind of want... I'm gathering data about a lot of things that I'm doing. I'm figuring out how long certain things take me, how long they should take me. I've got a list of all the things I need to do in my life and figure out when's the most optimal time to do them and all that kind of stuff. But one of the things that I'm really struggling with is getting people to respond to me. Because cold emails are never a great way of getting people's attention, really. But I feel like I'll never know if I'm not doing something right. You know what I'm saying? Because I know if no one responds, I don't know what's wrong. And I don't know how to... I kind of want just a little bit of guidance, and I think that's where I'm going to struggle the most. I know where my pitfalls are, basically, as a person, as a human being. That was one of the things I was going to do during my networking / lead generation portion of the day, and I'm going to go into some development. Yeah, and I struggle to figure out how to bridge that gap, really. I've got some plans, but they're kind of a bit in the future, effectively. Networking style-y things. And take a bit more balls than just firing off random shit, you know? But yeah, I think that's one of the things where I know I'm the weakest, and I know if I can get someone else in who is good at that kind of stuff, that would be the most advantageous to me at the moment. I do also feel like I'm spinning a lot of plates. Like I've got, in Asana, I've got all my software development stuff, I've got the code users service stuff, I've got Varealis, I've got the backlog for RadSpider, and then I've got like things I want to do for Varealis. So there's like a couple of things I want to apply for, forms I need to fill out, information I need to get for certain things. I need to do stuff for like actual legal business stuff. It's a lot of plates to spin, fam. Let's do some fucking development and pretend none of this exists. I started to notice a like transient error. Sorry, no, not transient, that's not the word I mean. I mean intermittent error on when I'm running my acceptance tests in the cloud. It never happens locally, but it happens when I run it on the build server. I think it spins it up into more threads, to be honest. And I think I fixed it, but I don't know, because maybe it'll just crop up again. But it's intermittent, so it's not like it's every time. It hasn't happened for the last 2 times. Is that fixed? I don't know. I'm not sure, am I? Anyway, that's the all the code done for that user story. For the microservice itself, I need to extend the API gateway, which means extending the GraphQL models, which does take a semi-significant amount of time. And I got to do the automation tests. One of the like annoying things about my automation tests, it's not necessarily, it's kind of annoying by design, like it's supposed to be like that, but I have control over what the databases say are in them, basically, so I can effectively put things in the database at will, which means I'm playing around with database models, say in the domain, right? So I'm playing around with domain models, but the API is kicking back API models. And I need to assert that the API model I got back is expected version of the domain model. But I can't just go, is it the fucking domain model that I passed it? It's not a unit test, so I can't do that. So I've effectively got to test the mappers at the top level in a nice, succinct way. And I've like added some shouldly extensions so that I can effectively go like should correspond to. So you say, so you do something along the lines of like result dot should correspond to and then domain model. But in this scenario, it's even slightly weirder because it's a pageable model. So it's not just like a list. I can't just be like, yo, does it correspond to this list? It's paged. And I'm like, how far into the paging do I have to automate test? Like, because at the moment it's only configured with 2 things in it. So like to do a paging test, I'd have to set the limit to 1 and then set the cursor to be the one after the first one. I'm not sure what value that gives. I don't think that gives me any value, to be honest with you. I think I should just test the mappers all the way out and just do like effectively get all or get defaults. Yeah. I knew this would be a challenge for me, working from home all the time. But around this time, around 10 o'clock, if I was in the office now, I'm getting a bit hungry. But I haven't got any food except my lunch, so I can't eat anything. Here, I'm getting hungry, but I've got all the food in the house. And I'm trying my damn hardest not to effectively resist temptation and not have like a biscuit or something, you know, because there's a slippery slope into obesity. Otherwise, you know the rules. Come down for a cup of tea. I've taken a break from development. That means I need to look again at emails / lead generation for a little bit until I start development again after my tea. I think that's one of the thing I'm going to try. So I was saying yesterday that I've read a thing about if you find something that you always try to avoid doing, make sure you do it after you do something that you always do. Like if you go to, like if it's a quick thing, say like you don't like checking your emails. Every time you go to the toilet, you come back, check your emails. And then you kind of like build a habit out of it. So I'm trying to build a habit out of tea breaks or step away entirely from development. So you come downstairs, walk around for a little bit while you make your tea, and then go back upstairs, do some lead generation, as I'm calling it, as I try and figure out like who I'm marketing to, how I market to them, generate emails, potentially send emails, all that kind of stuff. I think that's what I'm going to try out. I'm trying out for now, see how it works out for me. I'll put my hoodie on. It's a bit nippy today. It's not raining yet either. I'm surprised about. It's very windy though, but it's, oh no, I haven't said that. It's fucking raining now. I can just see it starting. Now look, don't ask me what's just happened, but I feel like I just dropped my pen lid into another dimension. It's gone. This is the smallest room in the goddamn house. How has this even happened? It's not gone down any of the floorboards either. Fuck's sake. God damn it. I'm thinking 12 o'clock is a good compromise for lunchtime as well. Around 12ish is the point where I'm starting to like flag a little bit, want to do something different, getting hungry. I've been staving off the hunger for at least half an hour by now, and I'm starting to get to the point where I'm like, about 11:30, I was like, should I have an earlier lunch? I'm like, no, let's chip through this last little bit. Let's make sure that this bit's all piped, all work together. All the models are basically set up, and then I can implement all the logic after lunch. So yeah, we should be laughing after that. Stop giving me rain alerts. My phone keeps giving me rain alerts and commute directions, and I'm like, how do I unset a work address? I can't set it to the same as my home address, and I can't take it away. So I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, supporting GraphQL is such a pain in the ass. It takes way longer than you ever should imagine it does. The amount of fucking mappers you have to do as well, because automappers stop doing whatever they call it, where it just like kind of scans and then has its best guess at mapping if it doesn't know what you're talking about, kind of thing. And that's really annoying when you're trying to map generic stuff, because I've got to explicitly define every single generic thing, and I just kind of want to go, hey, map this thing, list of T, map it to list of T, although it does work for list of T, but like another thing, for my pageable objects, for example, pageable T, I've now got to have a pageable map for every single version of T I want to support. God damn! When previously, I just do pageable, I wouldn't even add it actually, I wouldn't even add it in there, I just trusted it will work, and then just do the T maps. But no, that's too easy, man. I just got the very, very last layer of the mapping to do in the API gateway. And then we're done. Kick it up, run it, update all my Insomnia configs so that I've got the... so basically, if I open it up on my laptop, I've got effectively just predefined calls. I can just click play on all these buttons to make them all dance. And then we're done. We can raise PRs, and I'll look through the PRs for both of them. I'm having a cup of tea. The GraphQL is really, I fucking love it. It's brilliant, right? But it takes so long to configure. And when I'm not building the front end, I'm like, why? I've kind of made a decision to somewhat ignore the front end for a bit and start building out the APIs on the back end and then build the front end later. I feel like that's going to be my best route at the moment. The front end isn't very important. Making it dance is. So in theory, I could just use a REST API. I could just use the REST API. I use REST for updates anyway, but querying data, I could just get it all from the REST APIs, and that's fine. If I even have to query data from what I'm doing, but I don't have to do it. But when it comes around to building the front end, using GraphQL is so much better. It's the fucking dream. I love it. I love everything about it. It's great. But it's like, I'm spending all this time now getting it up and running because I don't want to spend the time later, basically. But because I'm not getting the payback for it now, I'm just like, why? Why are you doing this to yourself, man? Well, I'll be thankful later. It's 2 o'clock, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it's 2 o'clock. Come down for a cup of tea. I was like, I'm going to try and get this done. And I got through the defining all the query types and all that kind of stuff, because you got to define all the types and how they all map together. Implemented the resolvers, and then was like, oh, fuck, one more mapper. One more mapper to do, and it's got a load of pageable stuff in it, so fuck it. And I'm annoyed because I've already done pageable from the domain into the query results, into the API and the microservice, and now I've come from the API, from the microservices to the domain model of the API gateway, which is somewhat complicated because it's already genericized because it comes from Swagger, so like all the enums are strings and all that bollocks. Map that into an object, and then map that out of the domain of the API gateway into the fucking GraphQL bit, so that GraphQL can figure out what it needs to do with it. So many mappers. I've just got that last map to do. Just that last one. Cup of tea. I'm thirsty. I'm like, I need a drink and I need a cup of tea. Mutually exclusive things, those two things. So that entire user story took me 11.5 hours to do. No, it didn't. Banging maths there, Jamie. 9.5 hours. Which is about 2 days. So it takes me 2 dev days. Although today is much more dev heavy than yesterday was. So alright, let's have a look. So far I've done 5 hours of dev today. Yesterday I did 4 hours of dev. And I haven't even gone into the evening yet. Fucking test failing. That's not even the same thing. That's the API gateway. The API gateway keeps passing all of its tests and then failing. It's like, all the tests passed, failed. What are you fucking talking about? Clearly not. But yeah, so I've done it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to NuGet package something up because I've duplicated the same validator through 3 or 4 times now, where I'm validating whether or not something is a base64 encoded string. I'm going to move all of that into an extension method, NuGet package it up. I've already got an existing NuGet package for that, so should be able to just smash that in. It's about commute time though. It's pissing it down. So I'm going to try and, what do I do in the scenario where it's like absolutely hammering it down? It's torrential outside. I'm clearly not going to go for a walk. Oh, look at that, that really didn't like that. That's it. Hang up. There's an additional, when mine runs, it runs 463 tests. On here I've got 455 tests and then it aborts. So I wonder if one of them starts, but if it's like spinning like for a thread, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? I have it every now and then. To be fair, I haven't seen that in ages. I used to have it where if I was asserting that an exception was thrown asynchronously in Visual Studio, and it was a Visual Studio test runner problem, it would kind of wait for that thing forever, because I think it happens too fast for the async thing to catch up with itself. Can't be that. But either way, there are less tests running. All of the tests pass, but less tests are running. So all I need to do is figure out which 8 tests aren't running and then work backwards from there. So what do I do in scenarios where I can't commute? I should step away from the computer. So let's step away from the computer for half an hour, at the very least, and then come back and do some more work. I knew I'd already made. I could vaguely remember making that validator, and I have already done it. Happy days. Just open up the code. Bang, there it is. Literally the file that's open, base64 validator. Gucci. So what I need to do is do basically ensure set rule and then do .base64 encoded. Live the dream. Well, cool. Also figured out the issue where my tests were all passing but not all running. Figured that out. That's now fixed. It's probably been happening for a little bit, but like an entire project wasn't running, and for some reason it was now causing it to crash. Previously it wasn't crashing, it was just not running them. Now they're being run, so that's cool. Visual Studio was running them fine, that wasn't. Not really sure why. I think Visual Studio was changing the it was the only one that was pointing at not at full fat framework, because this microservice, rather than my newest microservice, it was built when Service Fabric didn't support .NET Core. So it uses the .NET APIs built on top of the full fat stack. So yeah, interesting. Anyway, it's time to go cook some dinner, I think. Am I cooking dinner? Yeah, let's cook some dinner and then I will update the projects to use my validator on my laptop instead of on Atlas, because I can do it downstairs then with Laura tonight. Productive day. Cool, that one thing all done. So like an entirely new arm. I'm trying to figure out if I'm happy with something that big taking 10 hours or if I think it should take less than that. I think it should probably take a bit less than that. Maybe 8 hours. We could probably get it down. It's always difficult to tell when it's like a new thing rather than like a minor addition, but a lot of the things I'm going to do are all relatively new things rather than additions on top of something else that already exists. 10 hours isn't too bad. If I can finish a ticket, in general, if I can finish a ticket every 2 days, would I have finished in time? Probably. Depends how big the tickets are, right, boy? I'm trying to solve quite an interesting problem where effectively I have an endpoint that can accept multiple things. Like, it can accept multiple different types of stuff. So these pipelines are built up of steps. The steps are all going to be of different types. So, for example, one of them will be a compile type, one will be a test step, one will be a build step, might be like copy file step, that kind of thing, like really generic kind of things that are used to build up these pipelines. And I'm trying to figure out a way of building the REST API around that. In general, I hate the idea of having huge objects that just don't have, you don't use most of the time. So I'm trying to figure out a way of doing it where basically the front end knows what to ask the user and what to send back to the web without having to know about it, you know what I mean? So the front end doesn't know, it just kind of goes, hey, I want to add this step, for example. What fields do I need to send you? And then kind of pass back a generic object back to the user, back to the to the server, which the server then goes, oh, you wanted the step with this ID, that means this like dictionary effectively of values marries up to the values that I want. I think that's the way I'm going to go about it. I've just been investigating how Visual Studio does it. Which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you're ever building a website, try and find a website that does something similar to what you do, or what you want to do, and just press F12 and have a dive around, have a play, see what it does, see what data it's passing back and forth. So yeah, what it does is it has like an inputs field, which is generic, effectively. By the looks of it, it's like a generic object. It's still JSON, it's not a dictionary. I don't think it's a dictionary anyway, it doesn't look dictionary-like. It's probably dynamic, probably using a dynamic object to just recompile that on the server side anyway. I feel like that's what I'm going to do. So basically, when you say get me the steps come back with the detailed. Should I put that in the step config? Yeah, probably. It comes back with the fields that you should pass and maybe basic validation rules. I'm thinking basic validation rules because I don't want the front end, at least whether or not it's required, at the very least. We'll figure out. Basically, I want the front end to be able to derive itself based on this configuration in the back end, and then dynamically build a web page around that. That's really complicated to do, especially if you want to build out things like validation and that kind of stuff. Right, I think I figured out a way of doing it. I think I figured out my plan. Let's draw it out. Let's draw it out, make sure it's right. I came in here to rubber duck it, and as soon as I turned the camera on, I was like, yeah, that makes sense, let's do that. I've figured out the way to go, ladies and gentlemen, and I know I've planned out the two next user stories in order. What I'm going to do, one's a tiny one, just extend what I've already done, and then the next one is, I should be able to get that finished tomorrow, depending on what we're doing. If not, in half a day on Monday. And then we'll roll through and add the steps in. And then we can build out the next microservice, which is probably going to be next on the list of things to do. It's going to be fun. Maybe do a delete. Oh no, it'll be puts anyway, so it's fine. No, ignore me. Oh, Laura's scared off the sheep with a fucking loud ass raincoat. Sheep. I wanted to stroke a sheep. That was a wild walk. We were like, let's go out, it's gonna be nice and sunny. We'll go and have like a coastal walk along the beach, and then some cliffs and whatnot. And it was not that. It was cold, it was windy, and then at one point, when we'd started already, thankfully, to cut back, it was horrendous. We were like, the wind was just coming in our faces, and it was like, and then it started to like hail. It was either rain, or it was so windy it felt like hail. Hail, or so windy, rain, yeah, you know what I mean. But we had a good time. We It was a good outing. It was the beach that we normally go to, but it wasn't quite sunny enough to sunbathe or anything like that. So, or just like sit out, you know. It was very windy. I should have taken a hoodie or some kind of coat or something. But then it would dip between that kind of torrential to just roasting hot, where you're like, God, I wish I had shorts on. You know, it was like flip flopping all over the place. That was basically what we did today. We've done a lot of walking this weekend because yesterday we walked into town to go shopping. I say to go shopping. I bought some hay fever tablets. And I think Laura looked at things that she wanted for her birthday, but didn't actually buy anything. But yeah, so we've done a lot of walking. My legs are a bit achy and whatnot. So yeah, we've had quite a lot of time out of the house, which is very deliberate for me, because I am trying to maintain work-life balances as best as possible, until it really sinks in that actually I should really give every single breathing second I have to this company. But I've been focusing on marketing and lead generation. So I've been drafting emails, getting ready to send tomorrow and on Tuesday and on Wednesday to a couple of different companies that I think I can offer my services to. I'm going to reach back out to my old university, see if I can get in touch with some people there, because I have some services I think I can offer them. See if I can partner up with them to offer support to other students that might be coming out of university doing something similar to me. I can give them some support there, I think, potentially. We'll see how it goes, basically. We'll see how it goes. And then otherwise we're watching Westworld, which is confusing as I'm enjoying it, but I think Laura's enjoying it particularly. And I watched listened to, because I wasn't really watching it, the last episode of season 2 of 13 Reasons Why, which was really good. I'm all about that. I really like that program. It's come back for a 3rd season, so I'm gonna watch that as well. Big fan. But now it's bedtime, so gotta go back at it. Another week. This will be my first full week. It's actually gonna be a bit of a weird week, particularly. It's not going to be completely full. I've got a dentist appointment tomorrow morning. I'm going to have a fill-in. Not looking forward to that. I've got a boiler survey, a final boiler survey before they come to do some work next month on Thursday. And on Friday, I have a business meeting in town to discuss funding. Should be interesting. And a lunch meeting with someone else for potential networking and advicey stuff. So it's going to be a bit of a weird week. But I've got a list of things that I want to get done tomorrow. What I basically do is I set myself a to-do list to do every day, and I have to finish it. So I'm being really cautious about putting things on it that are unachievable, but trying to put on enough that's like workable, you know what I'm saying? So tomorrow I've got some emails to send, people to get in contact with, an entire user story to finish with. It's an extension to existing flows, so it should be doable in one day. Lots of stuff, lots of fun stuff. But tomorrow's my next full week. I think it started to kick in now, but I think it will definitely kick in by the end of this week. I think by Wednesday it will start to be very real, which is a good thing. I'm fucking pumped. Yeah, cool. Right, well, thank you very much for watching this video, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm also on a tear uploading videos. I've uploaded a video every day today. So today and yesterday I uploaded a shitload of videos to catch back up, basically. So the Thursday video, the day before this video, went up on Thursday. This video will probably go up on Friday, and then should hopefully roll around again. I'm trying to catch up with myself because being behind costs me too much time. But yeah, cool. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed it. Come back. I'll catch you later.